Guys, Cap over here and welcome to Season 3 as we're going to be opening Week 1 against the Minneapolis Mamoswines once again as we did in Season 2. So hopefully we can get a victory this time around, but he's got an incredibly powerful team as his top ranked Pokemon counter my top ranked Pokemon. So Mega Altaria, Jirachi, Thundurus, Arcanine, they pretty much get mollywopped by Mamoswine. Mamoswine single-handedly can destroy that core. He also has things that include the Starmie, Mega Charizard X, and Cobalion, so I couldn't really bring in Jirachi or Mega Altaria. Thundurus was a bit of a stretch, but I felt like I had enough viability with Thundurus that I could bring it in. So we'll get this battle on its way, as I'm just gonna lead off with Miss Magius, aka Fab Hat, because that head is so incredible. It is just fabulous. You gotta show it off, man. You gotta show it off. So he's gonna lead off with Cobalion, and I'm like, wow, this is horrible, because I can't really do much to Cobalion. It may have low special defense, but I don't want to make that risk right away. Fab Hat is going to be really important later in the match, so I switch into Zwei. Zwei is actually a really hard counter to this thing, just because once it's intimidated, this thing can't really do that much. So I'm just going to click Flamethrower. He sets up his Stealth Rocks, and Stealth Rocks are going to be annoying because they hurt my team. I didn't bring a Rapid Spin or a Defogger, as I'm just going to go for the Flamethrower, and Panfried the Stunfisk is going to take it relatively well. So now I'm like, wow, this is a bit of a pickle, because I don't have anything that can really take this thing one-on-one. I have to get Krabby in, or not Krabby, Kingler in somehow. So I'm going to go right into Ichia, as I was predicting either Discharge, Thunder, Thunderbolt, or Earth Power. He ends up going for the Toxic, and that's sucky because now Thundurus is going to be taking rock damage and poison damage whenever it comes in. And since it's choice, I cannot lock myself into something that will allow me to always stay in the battle without taking a lot of damage, and it was just too much of a risk. So now I'm forced to switch out, and upon re-entry I'll take more Stealth Rock damage and poison damage. So that's a bit of a situation that's happening over there. So I'm gonna go right into Dugtrio, and unfortunately once again I'm gonna waste my Focus Sash because I'm not at full health. I want to take the Foul Play, but now I have a really important choice on my hand, because either I can set up my Stealth Rocks or go for an Earthquake. I end up sending my Stealth Rocks because he has the Mega Charizard X, and I still think I can possibly win this battle if I play it correctly, as he's just going to take me down with Foul Play. So these couple turns have been quite disastrous on my part. Fortunately for me, I do have my Stealth Rocks up, and that's gonna play a big role if I can make him keep on switching. So I'm gonna send out Big Chowder and just go for Crab Hammer, because this thing is a pain in my butt, and if nothing really wants to take a Crab Hammer. Plus this is my agility set, so if I can get a +2 in speed, I can outspeed everything on his team and potentially have a mini sweep to hold me in front of me. But unfortunately he ends up missing his Crab Hammer, and I'm like, how can you miss a Crab Hammer? Your claws are incredibly huge. So I'm predicting the Volt Switch happening over here, and I just go right into my Thundurus, and he ends up going for Volt Switch. So that really works out for me. I'm really proud of that. But I'm over here. I'm like, alright, he's gonna Hard Switch. I outspeed him. I do all of this. I'm gonna go for the U-turn. He ends up staying in, and I could have just Focus Blast this thing, and that would have been one less problem on my rear. So kudos to him for staying in. That was some ballsy play, but I'm just gonna go into Zwei once again, because Zwei is a really hard check to this thing. You can see that the rock damage is really racking up on my Mon, so I'm forced to go for Morning Sun later on in the play, as he goes for the Iron Head, and that's gonna do basically nothing after -1 attack. And he goes for the Volt Switch, switching out. I could have predicted that. I sort of saw it coming, but I didn't think he would fall for it. He wouldn't do it twice. So now I'm forced to go for the Morning Sun. Plus the Morning Sun was a bit more, it made more sense to me, because Y was going to be a huge part in this game, and I had to keep this thing at maximum health, or as much health as I could. So now I have to 1v1 this Pan-Fried Fish, my Arcanine versus Stunfisk, just because I don't have any other play to really make, and the Earth Power comes my way. I knew that if I had switched into Thundurus, Thundurus wouldn't have done a lot of damage on this thing. I ran the calculations, Dark Pulse, Focus Blast, and Thunderbolt and U-turn don't do enough damage to a point where I could be comfortable. So I end up timing out over here. I go for the Morning Sun, And this is a bit of a sucky situation because he ends up going for Earth Power. Perhaps if I'd just gone for Flamethrower, I would have taken it down at that range, just judging it from the HP from last time. But now I have to go for the Flamethrower just because upon re-entry, I would faint from Stealth Rocks. So that sucked. That sucked a lot. I apologize, Arc9. That was a big misplay on my part. You did your job. Trainer didn't do his, so bit of a failed relationship on that part. As Pamphite is going to claim another victim. Thankfully for me, I just died to life orb damage, so it's on my own hand, I guess. And it really does sum up a lot of this battle. I was my own worst enemy at this point. I ended up going for a nasty plot because I'm like, alright, gotta go for the Hail Mary. This is the only thing I have to do because I have to do as much damage as I can on every other mon. He ends up going for the foul play, does a decent amount of damage, and I'm like, wow, that sucks. That sucks a lot. Just because if he had just gone into Reniculus or someone else, I would have just, I don't know, I don't think it would have ended up well for me just because I have Rock Tomb and Shadow Ball on this thing. And whether or not Huskin Raider would have come in and just gone for a double Ice Shard, Earthquake, or Icicle Shard, or something like that, knockoff even, and simply taken me down. So this sort of just speeded up that process. He ends up taking a bit of Life Orb damage, and this was my worst fear coming true because it was either Scarf Mamoswine or Life Orb Mamoswine that wrecked my team. Thankfully I can get Thick Fat, and Ice attacks will do a lot less, but he ends up going for the knockoff. I was predicting the Superpower as I click Recover over here. Superpower would have done a lot of damage on this Porygon, but it will also lower the attack, so he ends up going for the better play of the two. The knockoff is going to be a big pain just because I don't have my Eviolite. I'm not as bulky as I could be. And now I have to go against the Sorcerer, aka the Reniculus, and this thing is ridiculous. See what I did there? That was pretty clever. This thing can possibly sweep my team. The only mon that I have really to take this thing down is my Kingler. As weird as that sounds, Kingler 2-hit KOs this thing, even if it's invested in defense. So it's going to start setting up Calm Minds, and I'm like, oh snap, this sucks. I need this thing to get paralyzed, and I thought he was just going to keep on setting up his Calm Minds because why not? Like, this thing is bulky. There's no reason to actually stop setting up Calm Minds, but he actually doesn't get greedy as I'm going to switch into Thundurus, predicting him to just go for another Calm Mind, then I can Dark Pulse this thing to the next Millennium and Paraflinch it, but he ends up going for the Psychic and taking me down. So Thundurus didn't really do a lot, more of a thorn on my side, and once again, the blame is on me because I really misplayed Thundurus. So now I'm going to go once again for another Hail Mary pass. I have to have this thing paralyzed. I gotta get the agility set up, and I gotta get this thing paralyzed. So I'm just gonna go for the agility, and this thing gets paralyzed. So I'm like, alright, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I just need to get this knockoff to either crit, or this Reniculus has to get paralyzed. It's asking a lot from the RNG gods, but hey, what do you know? It could happen. So this is the moment of truth, as this thing ends up getting the Psychic off, and I'm like, oh snap, that's pretty much GG. That's the end of my hopes for possibly winning this battle. So at this point, now I'm fishing for Differential. Differential is going to be a huge part later down the season, and if I can lower it to either a 4-0 or a 3-0, that'd be awesome. 3-0 is the best scenario. So I'm like, alright, Doc Dodgers, you got a tall task ahead of you. If you can take out this thing, or this thing can get paralyzed, that'd be awesome. So he ends up going for a Psychic and gets a crit on the Psychic. So I'm like, well, that sucks. So I have to go for the Recover over here, hoping that I could take a couple Earthquakes or Icicle Crash or anything from this thing that it wants to dish, and at the same time take it down with Tri Attack. So that's where my faith is on right now, Doc Dodgers. You gotta be bulky as you can, and you gotta do what a rubber ducky can do. Take the hit and just keep on going. So I'm just gonna go for a couple of recovers. I want to guarantee the Tri-Attack KO. I don't want to just go for a Tri-Attack and fall short of it. So he ends up going for an Earthquake once again. No point of switching moves or anything, as I'll go to 12, and I know I can live one more Earthquake. Barely, just barely, but I can live it. And then after that, I can go for a tri-attack, switch differential, depending on what happens. It might work out. So I live on 1, which is really awesome. Way to go, Doc Dodgers. You're the true MVP of this battle. Taking down the Mamoswine, and I did prep over the edge for Mamoswine, so I'm a bit happy that I took it down. Bit of a little participant award over there, but hey, you got to take what you can. And we got to build off of this battle just because it was a really poor performance on my part. Rewatching this battle, I know what I did wrong. I know at some part it came down to prep, and most importantly, just came down to the execution of the actual Toronto Staraptors. And that mostly falls on me just because Kingler could have swept depending on the situation. I just had to wear his team down. A lot of mons just went down to waste, especially the Doug Trio and Miss Magius and Thunderous and Arcanine, and the list could keep going. And I felt like I just paid way too much respect to his team. His team was way too scary. I showed the respect, and I gave him all the opportunities to do whatever he wanted, and he took full advantage of that. So kudos on John for doing that. That's what a great battler does. So next week, we don't have an easy task at all, because next week we're going to be taking on the champion of Season 2, the Minnesota Eon Twins, aka Joseph. And we got to get a bit of revenge back, because he beat us in the quarterfinals with a 2-1 advantage in favor of him. So we're going to see how that works out. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to smash that like button. If you want to leave a comment down below, you can leave it down in the comment section down below. If you guys want to check out the RBL, look in the description. But thanks for watching. This is Cap, signing off.